Welcome to my channel. Here, you will learn English through real-life stories, stories that are calm, meaningful, and easy to understand. In this video series, we will explore the life of Thomas Edison, one of the most famous inventors in history. This story is told in simple English to help you improve your listening, vocabulary, and comprehension skills. While learning English, you will also learn powerful life lessons about patience, hard work, and never giving up. So relax, listen carefully, and learn step by step. Thomas Edison failed many times. He failed at school. He failed at work. He failed in his experiments. People told him he was not smart. People said he would never succeed. People laughed at his ideas. But Thomas Edison never gave up. He once said that he did not fail thousands of times. He said he found thousands of ways that did not work. This is not just a story about invention. This is a story about persistence, a story about believing in effort, not talent. If you feel tired of failing, this story is for you. If you feel behind in life, this story is for you. If you want to improve your English while gaining motivation, this story is for you. Thomas Edison's journey shows us that success does not come quickly. Journey 1. A curious boy who failed at school. The early life of Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was not a successful student. In fact, many people believed he was a failure before his life even began. He was born in 1847 in a small town in the United States. His family was not rich, life was simple, and opportunities were limited. From a young age, Thomas was different from other children. He asked many questions, too many questions, questions that teachers did not like. At school, Thomas struggled. He found it hard to sit quietly. He did not enjoy memorizing facts. He wanted to understand why things worked, not just what they were. His mind moved faster than the classroom allowed. Teachers became frustrated. One teacher said that Thomas was slow and not able to learn. Another said he was a problem child. After only a short time at school, Thomas Edison was sent home. He was told that school was not the place for him. Imagine hearing that as a child. Being told you are not smart enough. Being told you cannot learn like others. Being told you do not belong. For many children, this moment would destroy confidence. But for Thomas Edison, something different happened. His mother believed in him. She did not accept what the teachers said. She saw curiosity, not weakness. She saw questions, not failure. She decided to teach him at home. This decision changed everything. At home, Thomas was free to learn in his own way. He read books, many books. He read about science, machines, and experiments. He did not rush. He learned slowly but deeply. He asked questions, he tested ideas, he made mistakes, and he enjoyed learning again. Thomas Edison's childhood teaches us an important lesson. Failure in school does not mean failure in life. Many people confuse intelligence with obedience. But Thomas was not made to sit quietly and repeat answers. He was made to explore. As a young boy, Thomas was always experimenting. He took things apart to see how they worked. Sometimes he broke them. Sometimes he shocked people. Sometimes he failed completely. But he never stopped. Other children played games. Thomas played with ideas. People around him thought he was strange. Some laughed at him, some ignored him. But Thomas did not try to fit in. He followed his curiosity. When he was still very young, he began working small jobs. He sold newspapers and candy on trains. This work taught him responsibility early. It also taught him independence. On the train, Thomas did something unusual. He built a small laboratory. Yes, a laboratory. Inside a train. He used the little money he earned to buy chemicals and tools. He experimented during his free time. Sometimes experiments failed. Sometimes accidents happened. Once, a fire started. He was punished and removed from the train. Another failure, another rejection. But Thomas Edison did not stop. Instead of feeling ashamed, he learned from it. He learned that mistakes were part of discovery. He learned that curiosity always carries risk. This mindset would define his entire life. Thomas Edison did not see failure as the end. He saw it as information. When something did not work, he did not say, "I failed." He said, "Now I know one way that does not work." This thinking started early in his life. Being removed from school did not make him give up. Losing jobs did not make him quit. Being called slow did not make him stop learning. His mother's support played a huge role. She encouraged him to read, to explore, and to believe in himself. Without her belief, Thomas Edison's story might have ended early. But belief alone was not enough. Thomas also worked hard. He studied when others rested. He tested ideas when others slept. He stayed curious when others gave up. Journey 1 of Thomas Edison's life is not about success. It is about misunderstanding. The world did not understand him. School did not understand him. But he understood himself. And that made all the difference. This part of his story reminds us that early failure does not decide your future. What matters is how you respond to failure. Do you stop or do you learn? Thomas Edison chose to learn. At this stage of his life, he had not invented anything famous. He had no awards, no praise, no success story. He was simply a curious boy, learning in his own way, in a world that did not know what to do with him. But something powerful was growing inside him. Curiosity, persistence, and the courage to be different. This is where his journey truly begins. In the next journey, we will see how Thomas Edison faces early struggles and repeated failures as he enters the working world, and how those failures push him forward instead of pulling him back. English Short, Journey 2, Early Struggles and First Failures, When Life Tested. Thomas Edison. As Thomas Edison grew older, life did not suddenly become easier. In fact, his real struggles were only beginning. Leaving school did not mean leaving challenges behind. It meant facing the world without protection. Thomas was still young, curious, and full of ideas. But curiosity alone does not pay bills. So he had to work. He started with small jobs, selling newspapers, selling candy, working long hours for very little money. Every day was uncertain. Some days he earned enough. Some days he earned nothing. But Thomas did not complain. Instead of spending money on comfort, he spent it on learning. He bought books, he bought tools, he bought chemicals. While others rested, Thomas experimented. Most of his experiments failed. Things did not work as planned. Machines broke, ideas collapsed, money was lost. People around him shook their heads. They thought he was wasting time. They thought he should find a normal job. But Thomas Edison was not looking for normal. He was looking for understanding. As a young man, Thomas moved from place to place. He worked as a telegraph operator. This job required focus and discipline. Messages had to be sent clearly and quickly. Thomas learned fast. He became skilled. But even here, trouble followed him. He modified machines. He tested improvements. Sometimes his changes caused problems. Sometimes systems failed. Once again, Thomas lost jobs. Being fired became familiar. Most people feel shame when they are fired. Thomas felt something else. He felt curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why am I bad at this?" he asked, "How can this work better?" Failure did not destroy his confidence. It trained his mind. At night, while others slept, Thomas experimented. He tested ideas over and over. He wrote notes. He corrected mistakes. He lived simply. He slept little. He worked constantly. This lifestyle was not comfortable. It was exhausting. Sometimes Thomas felt lonely. Sometimes he felt tired. Sometimes he doubted himself. But he never stopped. One important thing to understand about Thomas Edison is this. He was not afraid of looking foolish. He failed publicly. He failed often. People saw his mistakes, but he did not hide. Many people hide failure. Thomas studied it. Each failure taught him something new. Each mistake removed one wrong path. Slowly, his understanding grew. But success did not come quickly. Years passed with no major achievement, no praise, no recognition, only work. People continued to doubt him. Some said he was unlucky. Some said he lacked talent. Some said he was wasting his life. Thomas Edison listened, but he did not obey. He believed that effort mattered more than opinion. During this time, Thomas struggled financially. He lived in cheap rooms. He ate simple food. Sometimes he had very little, but even poverty did not stop him. He believed that knowledge was more valuable than money. These early struggles shaped his character deeply. They taught him discipline. They taught him patience. They taught him focus. He learned that success is not a moment. It is a process. Thomas Edison's life during this period shows us something important. Talent does not guarantee success. Comfort does not create growth. Struggle does. Failure was not an enemy to Thomas Edison. It was a teacher. Every time something went wrong, he adjusted. Every time he fell, he stood up again. Many people quit when results do not appear quickly. Thomas continued. The world still did not believe in him. He believed that progress happens quietly before it appears publicly. Journey 2 is not about winning. It is about endurance. It is about showing up when nothing works. It is about trying again when others stop. At the end of this stage, Thomas Edison was still unknown, still struggling, still failing, but he was becoming something rare. A man who did not fear failure, a man who trusted effort, a man who stayed curious under pressure, but he believed in the process, and that belief would soon change everything. In the next journey, we will see how Thomas Edison is openly called a failure and how he responds when society doubts his ability to succeed. Journey 3. Being called a failure. By this stage of his life, Thomas Edison was no stranger to disappointment. Failure had followed him from school into work and now into society itself. People did not just doubt his ideas anymore, they doubted him as a person. Wherever he went, his reputation came before him. Teachers had once called him slow. Employers now called him careless. Some people openly said he would never succeed. They believed he lacked talent, discipline, and intelligence. To them, Thomas Edison was not a future inventor. He was simply a man who failed too often. Hearing these words again and again was not easy. Being called a failure hurts more than failing itself. Failure can be private, but being labeled stays with you. When he lost another job, they said, "This is who he is." Society had already decided his future. But Thomas Edison did not accept that decision. Instead of fighting people with anger, he fought doubt with effort. He did not argue with those who mocked him. He did not waste energy proving them wrong with words. He returned to his work, again and again. Failure became part of his daily routine. He woke up knowing that most of what he tried would not work. And still, he tried. This mindset separated him from others. Many people stop when failure becomes public. They fear embarrassment more than loss. Thomas Edison feared something else. He feared stopping. He believed that quitting would be the only real failure. As the pressure grew, his life became harder. Money was short, support was rare, encouragement almost disappeared. But his curiosity remained alive. Every failed attempt taught him something new. He did not see failure as proof of inability. He saw it as proof of effort. When others asked why he kept going, he gave simple answers. He said learning comes from trying. He said progress is slow. He said discovery requires patience. People laughed at these ideas. They wanted quick success. They wanted clear results. Thomas Edison was building something invisible: understanding, discipline, mental strength. During this period, many of his experiments ended in disaster. Some cost him money he could not afford to lose. Some damaged equipment. Some ruined weeks of work. Each time, people reminded him of his past. You failed at school. You failed at work. You are failing again. But Thomas Edison learned to separate himself from these voices. He listened to feedback when it helped. He ignored judgment when it didn't. This ability protected his mind. Being called a failure did not stop him from believing in progress. It sharpened his focus. He learned to work alone. He learned to trust his process. He learned that belief from others is helpful, but belief in yourself is essential. Many nights, Thomas worked until exhaustion. He slept little. He lived simply. He often wondered how long this path would last. But even in doubt, he did not stop. He understood something most people never realize. Failure is temporary, but quitting is permanent. The world often confuses early results with final outcomes. Thomas Edison refused to make that mistake. He knew that greatness does not appear early. It appears after endurance. Being called a failure forced him to grow emotionally. He became tougher, calmer, more patient. He stopped reacting to insults. He stopped seeking approval. He focused only on improvement. Slowly, his skills deepened. His understanding became sharper. His experiments became more controlled. He learned from past mistakes instead of repeating them blindly. Although success had not yet arrived, progress was happening beneath the surface. This stage of his life teaches a powerful lesson. When people label you, they are often describing their limits, not yours. Thomas Edison did not allow labels to define him. He defined himself through action. Being called a failure did not end his journey. It strengthened it. This was the moment his mindset became unbreakable. The world still did not see his value, but he was preparing for something much bigger. The failures were not stopping him. They were shaping him, and soon the same people who called him a failure would struggle to understand how he succeeded. But for now, Thomas Edison continued quietly, patiently, and stubbornly forward, carrying the weight of doubt and turning it into fuel. In the next journey, we will see Thomas Edison face thousands of experiments with no success, and how patience and consistency slowly lead him toward breakthrough. Journey 4. Thousands of experiments, no success. Yet. By the time Thomas Edison reached this stage of his life, failure was no longer something that surprised him. It had become familiar. He woke up expecting things not to work. He went to sleep knowing that tomorrow might bring the same result. While others measured progress by success, Thomas measured progress by effort. Day after day, he entered his workspace with the same quiet determination. He tested materials. He adjusted designs. He repeated experiments. Most of them failed. Some failed quickly. Others failed after days or weeks of work. Each failure cost time, money, and energy. Still, he continued. People around him could not understand this behavior. They asked why he wasted his life on ideas that did not work. They asked why he did not stop and choose an easier path. Thomas Edison did not answer them with long explanations. He simply kept working. In his mind, every experiment that failed was not a loss. It was information. It showed him what did not work, and that knowledge mattered. Slowly, he built a habit that would define his legacy. When something failed, he did not panic. He did not blame others. He did not feel ashamed. He wrote notes, adjusted the design, and tried again. This calm response to failure gave him an advantage others did not have. Many people quit when results do not appear quickly. Thomas Edison stayed when nothing appeared at all. As the number of experiments increased, so did the pressure. Investors became impatient. Supporters lost faith. Some people who once believed in him walked away. They wanted results, not promises. Thomas Edison understood their frustration, but he did not allow it to control his work. He accepted that progress takes time. He accepted that real invention requires patience. While others counted failures, he counted lessons. His laboratory became a place of constant motion. Wires, glass, metal, and tools surrounded him. Some days ended in disappointment. Some nights ended in exhaustion. But he returned the next morning with the same focus. He did not chase motivation. He relied on discipline. Even when he felt tired, he worked. Even when he felt discouraged, he tested again. This consistency slowly sharpened his skills. His understanding of materials deepened. His ability to solve problems improved. Although success was still far away, his mind was becoming stronger. Failure no longer felt personal. It felt practical. This shift protected him emotionally. Many people break under repeated disappointment. Thomas Edison adapted. He learned how to stand inside uncertainty without losing direction. He accepted that struggle was part of the process, not a sign of the wrong path. There were moments when doubt came quietly. Late at night, surrounded by unfinished work, Thomas Edison sometimes wondered how long he could continue. He had invested years with little to show. Friends had moved on. Others had built stable lives. He was still chasing an idea, but every time doubt appeared, curiosity answered it. He wanted to know what would happen if he tried one more variation. He wanted to see if one small change could lead to a different result. This curiosity pulled him forward when motivation disappeared. It reminded him that discovery is not driven by comfort, but by persistence. When experiments failed, he adjusted. When materials broke, he replaced them. When designs collapsed, he rebuilt them. Over time, his failures became more controlled. He stopped repeating the same mistakes. Each failure brought him closer to understanding. This quiet progress was invisible to the outside world, but powerful inside his mind. The same people who laughed at him did not see the growth happening beneath the surface. They only saw delay. Thomas Edison saw development. The sheer number of failed experiments shocked many people. Hundreds turned into thousands. Each one represented effort. Each one required focus. Many people would have stopped long before reaching this point. Thomas Edison did not. He believed that persistence was not about stubbornness, but about faith in the process. He understood that breakthrough rarely arrives early. It comes after endurance. While others chased quick results, he built deep understanding. His laboratory became a place where mistakes were welcomed, studied, and used. Failure was no longer an enemy, it was a guide. This mindset separated him from those who quit. He did not expect success to arrive easily. He expected resistance. He expected difficulty. This expectation protected him from disappointment. When things did not work, he was not surprised. He was prepared. That preparation kept him steady. Slowly, patterns began to appear. He noticed small improvements. Tiny changes led to slightly better results. These moments did not look like success, but they were signs of direction. Thomas Edison paid attention to them. He adjusted his approach carefully. He trusted that progress was happening, even if no one else could see it. Journey 4 of Thomas Edison's life teaches a deep lesson. Success is not built on inspiration alone. It is built on consistency during long periods of failure. Most people stop when effort does not bring reward. Thomas Edison continued without reward. He did not know when success would come. He only knew that stopping would guarantee failure. So he kept going. Thousands of experiments did not break him. They trained him. They shaped his discipline. They strengthened his patience. This stage of his life was not glamorous. It was repetitive. It was exhausting. But it was necessary. Without these failures, the success ahead would not have been possible. Thomas Edison was no longer just a curious boy or a struggling worker. He was becoming something rare, a man who could fail endlessly without losing direction, a man who trusted effort more than outcome. And although the world still did not see it, he was moving closer to a breakthrough that would change everything. In the next journey, we will explore how Thomas Edison redefined failure itself and why he believed that failure was not the opposite of success, but a step toward it. Journey 5. Failure is not the end. At this stage of his life, Thomas Edison no longer feared failure. What once felt heavy and painful had become familiar and almost neutral. Failure did not shock him anymore. It did not stop him. Instead, it guided him. By now, he understood something most people never fully learn. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every failed experiment gave him information. Every broken idea removed one wrong path. While others saw waste, Thomas Edison saw learning. This mindset did not come naturally. It was built through years of disappointment, long nights, and endless repetition. Many times he stood in his laboratory surrounded by materials that did not work, ideas that collapsed, and designs that failed. Yet, instead of feeling defeated, he felt closer to understanding. He believed that each failure narrowed the distance between ignorance and knowledge. This belief kept him moving forward when nothing else could. People around him did not share this view. They counted his failures and used them as evidence that he was not capable. Some said he was stubborn. Others said he was unrealistic. Investors became impatient. Supporters lost hope. Friends advised him to stop and choose a safer life. Thomas Edison listened, but he did not follow their advice. He respected opinions, but he trusted experience more. Experience had taught him that progress rarely looks impressive in the beginning. It looks slow, messy, and uncertain. While others chased quick results, Thomas stayed committed to long-term understanding. He worked without applause. He experimented without guarantee. He accepted that failure would continue. What mattered was not avoiding failure, but responding to it correctly. As his experiments continued, Thomas Edison developed emotional discipline. When something failed, he did not react with frustration. He did not panic. He did not blame circumstances or people. He simply adjusted. This calm response gave him control over situations that would overwhelm others. Failure stopped being personal. It became technical, a result, not a judgment. This separation protected his confidence. Many people lose belief in themselves when they fail repeatedly. Thomas Edison did the opposite. His belief grew stronger because he trusted the process. He believed that effort, repeated long enough, would lead somewhere meaningful. Even when results were invisible, he knew progress was happening inside his mind. Skills were sharpening. Understanding was deepening. Patience was growing. There were moments of exhaustion. Long hours left his body tired. Endless repetition tested his mental strength. Some days felt heavy. Some nights felt endless. But Thomas Edison had learned how to continue without motivation. He relied on discipline. Discipline woke him up. Discipline kept him working. Discipline carried him through days when passion was quiet. This discipline separated him from people who depended on inspiration. Inspiration fades. Discipline remains. Thomas Edison understood this early. That is why he could continue when others stopped. Failure did not signal the end of the road for him. It signaled the need for adjustment. Over time, Thomas Edison began to speak openly about failure. He did not hide it. He did not feel ashamed. He explained his view calmly. He said that discovering what does not work is just as valuable as discovering what does. This way of thinking confused many people. Society often celebrates success but avoids failure. Thomas Edison did the opposite. He studied failure carefully. He respected it. He used it as a tool. Each failed attempt refined his thinking. Each mistake improved his method. Slowly, his experiments became more precise. Random testing turned into controlled trials. Guessing turned into observation. Although success was still not visible, the foundation was becoming strong. This stage of his journey teaches a powerful lesson. Failure only ends you if you let it define you. Thomas Edison refused to accept that definition. He defined himself through persistence. He believed that quitting would be the only true failure. As long as he continued, he was still moving forward. This belief removed fear from his work. Without fear, he could experiment freely. Without fear, he could think creatively. Without fear, he could fail without stopping. Most people fear failure because they attach it to identity. Thomas Edison detached failure from identity and attached it to progress. That choice changed everything. As years passed, the gap between effort and reward tested him deeply. No major breakthrough had arrived yet. The world still did not recognize his work. But Thomas Edison was no longer searching for approval. He was searching for understanding. This focus protected him from disappointment. He did not measure success by praise, he measured it by improvement. Each day, he asked himself one question. Did I learn something today? If the answer was yes, the day was not wasted. This simple rule kept him moving forward. Failure no longer felt like loss. It felt like movement. Journey 5 shows us the moment Thomas Edison fully accepted failure as part of his identity, not as weakness, but as strength. He was no longer fighting failure. He was working with it. This cooperation gave him endurance. It allowed him to continue when others would have stopped long ago. Although success was still ahead, his mindset was complete. He had learned how to fail without breaking. And once a person learns that, nothing can truly stop them. The road was still long, but his direction was clear. Failure was not the end. It was the path. In the next journey, we will see how Thomas Edison continues working when others quit, and how consistency and discipline slowly bring him closer to success. Journey 6. Working when others quit. By the time Thomas Edison reached this phase of his journey, something inside him had clearly separated him from most people. It was not talent. It was not luck. It was not intelligence in the way society usually defines it. It was his ability to keep working when others stopped. Many people around him had started with energy and excitement. They dreamed big. They spoke confidently. But when results did not come quickly, they slowly disappeared. Thomas Edison watched this happen again and again. He saw partners quit. He saw supporters lose patience. He saw helpers move on to easier paths. And yet he stayed. He stayed when progress was slow. He stayed when experiments failed. He stayed when the work became boring, repetitive, and exhausting. This consistency became his greatest strength. Working when others quit is not glamorous. There is no applause. There is no excitement. Most days feel ordinary. Thomas Edison understood this deeply. His daily routine was simple and demanding. He woke up, worked, tested ideas, failed, adjusted, and repeated the process. There were no shortcuts, no dramatic moments, just effort, again and again. Many people believe success comes from big moments of inspiration. Thomas Edison proved that success often comes from quiet repetition. He did not wait to feel motivated. He worked whether he felt motivated or not. This discipline allowed him to continue long after others lost interest. As time passed, Thomas Edison's work habits became extreme by normal standards. He worked long hours. He slept very little. He became deeply focused on his experiments. While others balanced comfort and effort, Thomas chose focus. This choice came with sacrifice. He missed rest. He missed social life. He missed ease. But he gained something else, momentum. Each day of work added to the next. Even when experiments failed, momentum carried him forward. He believed that stopping would break that momentum, and restarting would be harder than continuing. People often asked why he worked so much, why he pushed himself so hard. Thomas Edison did not give dramatic answers. He believed that meaningful work requires immersion. To understand something deeply, you must stay with it longer than others are willing to. When others quit, understanding stops. When you continue, understanding grows. This belief guided him. Even on days when nothing worked, he stayed present. He learned from small details. He noticed patterns others missed. He refined his thinking slowly. There were moments when exhaustion tested him. His body felt tired. His mind felt heavy. Some days felt endless. But Thomas Edison did not confuse fatigue with failure. He rested when necessary, but he did not quit. This distinction mattered. Many people quit not because they are incapable, but because they are tired. Thomas learned to move through tiredness without abandoning his goal. He understood that fatigue passes, but quitting stays. This understanding allowed him to endure long periods of difficulty. Another important part of this stage was isolation. As others quit, Thomas Edison often found himself working alone. This loneliness could have weakened him. Instead, it strengthened his independence. He learned to trust his judgment. He learned to rely on his observations. Without constant opinions around him, his thinking became clearer. He was no longer distracted by doubt from others. He focused on evidence, not approval. This focus sharpened his decision-making and improved his work quality. Consistency also taught Thomas Edison humility. When you work daily, failure becomes normal. Success becomes rare and meaningful. He stopped expecting quick rewards. He accepted that progress often hides beneath repetition. This acceptance removed frustration from his work. He was no longer disappointed when things failed. He expected resistance. This expectation made him calm. Calm allowed him to think clearly. Clear thinking improved his experiments. This stage of Thomas Edison's life teaches a powerful lesson about discipline. Discipline is not about forcing yourself painfully. It is about choosing what matters and staying with it. Thomas Edison chose learning. He chose understanding. He chose effort over comfort. When others quit because the work felt slow, he stayed because the work felt meaningful. This difference defined his journey. Over time, his consistency began to compound. Each experiment added knowledge. Each failure refined his approach. While others restarted new paths repeatedly, Thomas continued deepening one path. This depth gave him an advantage that talent alone could not provide. He was not smarter than everyone else. He was more persistent. Persistence allowed him to see connections others missed. It allowed him to stay long enough for breakthrough to become possible. Journey 6 shows us that success often belongs to the last person standing. When enthusiasm fades and effort remains, the field becomes empty. Thomas Edison stayed in that empty space. He worked when no one was watching. He continued when no one believed. He trusted that effort, repeated long enough, would eventually lead to results. This trust was quiet, but powerful. Although success had not arrived yet, Thomas Edison was closer than ever. Not because he was lucky, but because he was still working. While others quit and moved on, he stayed and grew. This stage of his journey reminds us that the most important work often happens after excitement disappears. When you continue without praise, without comfort, and without certainty, you build something rare. You build resilience. And resilience is what carries you to the next breakthrough. In the next journey, we will finally see the breakthrough that comes after long consistency, the moment when Thomas Edison's persistence begins to change the world. Journey 7. The light bulb breakthrough. After years of quiet effort, repeated failure, and endless patience, Thomas Edison reached a moment that would define his life. It did not arrive suddenly or dramatically. There was no loud celebration at first. There was only a small change in results that looked different from before. For Thomas Edison, this was enough to notice. He had learned to pay attention to details. He had learned that breakthroughs often appear quietly after long periods of silence. The idea of creating a practical electric light had been in his mind for a long time. Many people before him had tried and failed. Some believed it was impossible. Others believed it was too expensive or too unstable. Thomas Edison believed it was possible, but only through patience and testing. He did not expect success on the first attempt. He expected resistance. This expectation prepared him mentally for the long journey ahead. The process of developing the light bulb was slow and exhausting. Edison and his team tested thousands of materials for the filament. Most burned too quickly, some broke easily. Others did not produce enough light. Each failure forced them back to the beginning. Many people watching from the outside thought this work was pointless. They asked why Edison kept going. They said he was wasting time and money. Some investors lost patience. They wanted results, not experiments. But Thomas Edison remained calm. He believed that each failed test removed one wrong option. He believed that knowledge was increasing, even if success was not visible yet. This belief kept him steady while pressure grew around him. Day after day, the work continued. Edison adjusted designs. He tested new materials. He refined methods. His laboratory became a place of constant trial and error. Long hours turned into long nights. Fatigue became normal. But Thomas Edison had learned how to work through tiredness without quitting. He relied on discipline more than motivation. When his body was tired, his routine carried him forward. He had already accepted that progress would not come quickly. That acceptance protected him from frustration. Instead of asking how long it would take, he focused on what needed to be tested next. Slowly, something began to change. The experiments became more controlled. The failures became more informative. Edison started to narrow his options. He noticed patterns. Some materials lasted longer than others. Some designs produced steadier light. These small improvements did not look like success to others, but to Edison, they were signs of direction. He followed those signs carefully. He trusted the process he had built over years of failure. This trust allowed him to stay patient even as expectations increased. People wanted a miracle. Edison focused on method. Then came the moment that mattered. After countless attempts, Edison tested a filament that lasted longer than any before. The light stayed on. It did not burn out quickly. It did not fail immediately. For Thomas Edison, this moment was not about excitement. It was about confirmation. Confirmation that persistence works. Confirmation that failure had not been wasted. Confirmation that staying when others quit had meaning. He did not celebrate loudly. He quietly observed, measured, and tested again. He knew one success was not enough. It had to be reliable. It had to be repeatable. This cautious response showed his maturity. He was not chasing headlines. He was building something real. When the electric light bulb was finally ready, the world reacted strongly. People were amazed. Streets could now be lit. Homes could now be brighter. Life could continue after sunset. This invention changed daily life forever. Suddenly, Thomas Edison was no longer seen as a failure. The same people who doubted him now praised him. The same voices that questioned his work now admired it. But Thomas Edison did not allow this praise to change him. He remembered the long years of struggle. He remembered the nights of doubt. He remembered the failures that made this moment possible. Success did not erase the past. It gave it meaning. This breakthrough did not happen because Edison was smarter than everyone else. It happened because he stayed longer. He tested more. He failed more. While others stopped, he continued. This difference mattered. The light bulb was not just an invention. It was proof that persistence can overcome doubt. It showed that discipline can outlast talent. It showed that steady effort, repeated long enough, creates results that sudden inspiration cannot. Even after this success, Thomas Edison did not slow down. He did not rest on achievement. He returned to work. He improved designs. He explored new ideas. Success did not signal the end of effort for him. It signaled a new beginning. This attitude kept him growing while others became comfortable. He understood that innovation requires continuous work. One breakthrough opens the door to the next challenge. Journey 7 teaches us a powerful lesson. Breakthroughs are built quietly. They come after long periods of unseen effort. They reward those who stay when progress feels invisible. Thomas Edison's success with the light bulb was not an accident. It was the result of years of preparation. Every failure contributed. Every doubt strengthened his patience. Every day of work mattered. This journey reminds us that the moment everyone sees is supported by years no one sees. When success finally appears, it often looks sudden to the world. But for the person who endured the process, it feels earned. Thomas Edison earned his breakthrough by refusing to quit. He proved that persistence is not dramatic, it is daily, and when persistence meets opportunity, change becomes possible. In the next journey, we will see how success did not change Thomas Edison's attitude, and why humility and continuous effort kept him moving forward even after achieving greatness. Journey 8. Success did not change his attitude. When success finally arrived, many people expected Thomas Edison to change. The world now saw him differently. Newspapers spoke his name, people praised his intelligence, investors respected him. The same society that once doubted him now celebrated him. Fame, recognition, and opportunity surrounded him. For many people, this kind of success becomes a turning point where humility disappears and pride grows. But Thomas Edison remained the same man he had always been. Success did not soften his discipline or inflate his ego. Instead, it reminded him of how far he had come and how much work still remained. He did not forget the years of struggle. He did not forget the long nights of failure. Those memories kept him grounded. Thomas Edison continued to live simply. He did not chase luxury or comfort. His focus remained on work. He returned to his laboratory with the same curiosity he had before success. While others saw the light bulb as a final achievement, Edison saw it as one step in a longer journey. He believed that progress never ends. There is always something to improve, something to understand, something to build. This mindset protected him from becoming complacent. Many people stop growing once they achieve recognition. Thomas Edison continued growing because he never saw success as the goal. Learning was the goal. Despite his achievements, Edison did not present himself as superior to others. He spoke openly about failure. He explained how many attempts were required before success arrived. He wanted people to understand that invention is not magic. It is effort, repeated patiently. He believed this truth was more important than praise. When people called him a genius, he did not accept the label comfortably. He believed it created distance between effort and result. Instead, he emphasized hard work and persistence. He wanted young people to know that success is not reserved for a few special minds. It is built by those who stay committed long enough. Success also gave Edison more responsibility. People looked to him for leadership and direction. He understood that influence must be used carefully. He encouraged experimentation. He supported new ideas. He created environments where mistakes were allowed. He remembered how important it was to fail safely while learning. His laboratories became places of growth, not fear. Workers were encouraged to try, fail, and try again. This culture reflected his own journey. He knew that innovation dies where failure is punished. Even with recognition, Thomas Edison remained disciplined. His routine did not change much. He worked long hours. He stayed deeply involved in experiments. He did not delegate curiosity. He stayed present. This hands-on approach kept his thinking sharp. Success did not make him distant from the work. It brought him closer. He believed that leadership should not separate a person from effort. It should guide effort. There were moments when the world expected him to relax, to enjoy the rewards of success. But Thomas Edison did not feel comfortable stepping away. He believed that meaningful work gives life structure and purpose. Without work, success felt empty. This belief kept him active long after others would have retired. He was not driven by money or status. He was driven by curiosity and responsibility. Thomas Edison's attitude after success teaches an important lesson. Achievement does not have to change who you are. It can strengthen who you already are. Edison did not become arrogant because he had already faced failure deeply. Failure had shaped his humility. It had taught him respect for effort. It had reminded him that results are temporary, but character lasts. This understanding protected him from the common trap of ego. He also remained realistic about success. He knew that one breakthrough does not guarantee future success. Each new idea brings new challenges. Each improvement requires fresh effort. He did not assume that past victories would solve future problems. This realism kept him working. It kept him learning. It kept him grounded. Many people stop preparing once they succeed. Thomas Edison continued preparing because he understood that success is fragile without discipline. Another important part of this stage was gratitude. Although Edison did not speak emotionally about it often, his actions showed appreciation. He valued collaboration. He recognized effort in others. He understood that his journey had been supported by teachers, family, and workers who believed in persistence. This quiet gratitude influenced how he treated people. He did not look down on beginners. He respected effort at every level. He knew what it felt like to struggle unseen. Journey 8 shows us that success does not have to be loud or prideful. It can be calm. It can be steady. It can deepen purpose instead of replacing it. Thomas Edison's attitude after success reminds us that the goal is not to arrive and stop. The goal is to arrive and continue. Growth does not end when recognition begins. It becomes more meaningful. As Edison continued his work, his influence expanded. But his values remained stable. He believed in effort. He believed in patience. He believed in learning through failure. These beliefs did not change with success. They became stronger. They became clearer. This consistency allowed him to build a lasting legacy, not just a moment of fame. Journey 8 reminds us that who you are after success matters more than success itself. Thomas Edison showed that humility protects growth, discipline protects progress, and curiosity keeps life meaningful. His journey was not about becoming famous. It was about becoming consistent, and that consistency carried him forward into the final lessons of his life. In the next journey, we will reflect deeply on the lessons Thomas Edison's life teaches us and how persistence, discipline, and patience apply to our own lives today. Journey 9. Lessons from Edison's life. As Thomas Edison grew older and looked back on his long journey, the true value of his life became clear. It was not only about inventions. It was not only about the light bulb or famous achievements. The deeper value was in the lessons his life quietly taught. These lessons were shaped by struggle, failure, patience, and persistence. Edison's life shows us that success is not a straight path. It is a long road filled with uncertainty. Many people believe success belongs to the smartest or the luckiest. Edison's story challenges that belief. His life teaches us that success often belongs to the most patient. One of the most important lessons from Edison's life is how he viewed failure. He never treated failure as an enemy. He treated it as information. When something did not work, he did not feel embarrassed or defeated. He felt informed. This way of thinking protected his confidence. Many people lose belief in themselves after repeated failure. Edison did the opposite. His belief grew stronger because he trusted effort over outcome. He understood that failure does not mean you are wrong. It often means you are learning. This lesson is powerful for anyone who feels stuck. Failure does not end your journey unless you decide to stop. Another lesson from Edison's life is the power of consistency. He did not work only when he felt inspired. He worked every day. His progress did not come from rare moments of excitement. It came from steady effort repeated over long periods. This consistency separated him from others. Many people begin with energy but stop when results are slow. Edison continued when work became boring, tiring, and repetitive. He understood that discipline lasts longer than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. This lesson is especially important in learning, work, and personal growth. Small effort done daily often beats big effort done rarely. Edison's life also teaches us the importance of patience. He did not rush results. He accepted that meaningful work takes time. Many of his experiments took years before showing progress. During that time, he did not panic or change direction constantly. He stayed focused. Patience allowed him to think clearly under pressure. It allowed him to continue without frustration. In a world that demands quick results, Edison's patience is a reminder that depth takes time. Growth cannot be rushed without being weakened. Another powerful lesson from Edison's journey is how he handled judgment from others. He was called slow at school. He was fired from jobs. He was publicly doubted. Yet he did not allow those opinions to define him. He listened when feedback was useful, but he ignored judgment that came without understanding. This balance protected his identity. Many people give up not because they fail, but because they believe what others say about them. Edison teaches us that other people's opinions are not final truths. Your actions over time matter more than labels given early. Edison also teaches us about humility. Even after success, he did not see himself as superior. He did not pretend that success came easily. He spoke openly about his failures. He emphasized effort instead of talent. This honesty made his success meaningful. He understood that pride can stop growth. Humility keeps learning alive. This lesson reminds us that success should not separate us from others. It should remind us where we came from. One lesson that often goes unnoticed is Edison's relationship with work. He did not see work as punishment. He saw it as purpose. Work gave his life structure. It gave him meaning. Even when results were slow, the act of working itself mattered. This mindset helped him avoid despair during long periods of uncertainty. Many people feel lost when progress is slow. Edison found peace in effort itself. This lesson teaches us that purpose does not only come from achievement, it also comes from commitment. Edison's life also shows the importance of adapting instead of quitting. When something did not work, he adjusted. He changed methods, materials, and approaches, but he did not abandon the goal easily. This flexibility allowed him to grow smarter with each failure. Quitting would have ended learning. Adapting extended it. This lesson applies to every area of life. When one path fails, adjustment keeps the journey alive. Another key lesson is that success often looks invisible before it becomes visible. For years, Edison worked without recognition. No one praised his effort, no one saw progress, but progress was happening internally. Skills were developing. Understanding was growing. When success finally appeared, it looked sudden to the world. But for Edison, it was expected. This teaches us that invisible progress is still progress. Just because others do not see growth does not mean it is not happening. Edison's journey also reminds us that comparing yourself to others is dangerous. Many people around him chose easier paths. They found comfort sooner. Edison chose a harder path. His reward came later, but it was deeper. This lesson encourages patience with your own timeline. Everyone's journey is different. What matters is staying true to your process. Journey 9 teaches us that Thomas Edison's life is not just a story of invention. It is a guide for living with resilience. His lessons apply to learning, work, failure, and self-belief. You do not need to invent something world-changing to apply these lessons. You only need to show up, try again, and stay consistent. Edison's life proves that ordinary effort, repeated long enough, can lead to extraordinary results. As we move toward the final journey, one truth becomes clear. Thomas Edison's greatest invention was not the light bulb. It was his mindset. A mindset built on patience, discipline, and trust in effort. This mindset is available to anyone willing to practice it. In the final journey, we will bring everything together and reflect on why Thomas Edison's story still matters today, and how his journey can inspire us to never give up, with a strong call to action. Journey 10. Never give up. As Thomas Edison's life moved toward its later years, what remained most powerful was not a single invention, but the message his journey left behind. By this time, the world knew his name. His work had changed how people lived, worked, and saw the future. Light was no longer limited by the sun. Ideas were no longer limited by doubt. But Thomas Edison himself never spoke about success as the final goal. When people asked him about achievement, he returned again and again to one simple idea. Effort matters more than talent, and persistence matters more than speed. Looking back, Edison's life followed no perfect plan. It was full of wrong turns, delays, and mistakes. There were moments when giving up would have seemed reasonable, moments when quitting would have been understandable. Many people would have stopped much earlier, but Edison stayed. He stayed when school rejected him. He stayed when jobs failed him. He stayed when experiments collapsed. He stayed when success felt far away. This ability to stay became his greatest strength. One of the most important truths from Edison's life is that success rarely comes to those who wait for perfect conditions. It comes to those who act inside imperfect ones. Edison did not wait until he felt ready. He worked while confused. He tested while uncertain. He learned while failing. This willingness to move forward without guarantees allowed him to grow steadily while others hesitated. Another lasting lesson is how Edison separated identity from results. He did not say, "I failed, so I am a failure." He said, "This failed, so I learned something." This separation protected his confidence. It allowed him to try again without fear. Many people stop because they feel failure means something about who they are. Edison understood that failure only describes an outcome, not a person. This understanding gave him freedom. Freedom to experiment, freedom to be wrong, freedom to improve. Edison's journey also shows us that time will test everyone. Motivation fades, energy drops, excitement disappears. What remains is discipline. Edison did not depend on feeling inspired. He depended on routine, on showing up, on doing the work even when it felt dull. This is where most people quit, not because the goal is impossible, but because the process feels boring. Edison accepted boredom as part of progress. This acceptance allowed him to continue when others stopped. As he aged, Edison did not become comfortable with his reputation. He continued working. He continued learning. He continued questioning. He believed that stopping meant falling behind, not behind others, but behind potential. He knew that the moment a person believes they have arrived, growth ends. So he stayed curious. He stayed engaged. He stayed humble. These qualities kept his mind alive long after success arrived. Thomas Edison's life matters today because the world still struggles with the same challenges. People fear failure. People quit too early. People compare themselves to others and feel behind. Edison's journey reminds us that being behind does not mean being wrong. It means you are still moving. Progress is not measured by speed, but by direction. If you are still learning, still trying, still adjusting, you are not failing. You are growing. This story is especially important for anyone learning something new. Learning a language, learning a skill, learning confidence, learning patience. Progress feels slow. Mistakes feel frustrating. Improvement feels invisible. Edison's life teaches us that this feeling is normal. Growth often happens quietly. The results appear later. What matters is staying with the process long enough for change to happen. Thomas Edison was not perfect. He made mistakes. He failed often. But he refused to let failure decide his future. He believed that persistence could outlast doubt, and it did. His life shows us that you do not need to be special to succeed. You need to be consistent. You need to be patient. You need to be willing to try again one more time. As this journey comes to an end, the message becomes clear. Never give up does not mean never rest. It does not mean ignore pain. It means do not let one bad result stop your direction. It means choose effort again tomorrow. It means trust that small steps matter. Thomas Edison's greatest legacy is not the light bulb. It is the reminder that persistence can change outcomes, lives, and history. That reminder belongs to everyone willing to listen. If this story inspired you, do not let it end here. Listen again to improve your English listening and understanding. Save this series and return whenever you feel tired or discouraged. Share this story with someone who feels stuck or behind in life. Most importantly, choose one lesson from Thomas Edison's life and apply it today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Stay consistent when motivation fades. Stay patient when progress feels slow. Stay curious when answers are unclear. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to continue. Learn slowly. Work quietly. Never give up.